Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Life is not typically easy, especially nowadays. There's a lot going on, a lot that we're exposed to. Then we have those moments in life where it can be stressful. How do you manage all of this without getting stressed out and being able to really handle things without going off on the deep end? We are going to talk about that today. And if you've dealt with some trauma previously in your life, now add that to the stress and everything else. How do you navigate that situation? She is an amazing psychotherapist, works with all different types of people, all different individuals on all different goals today. Essentially, it's stress. Susie Engel is back on the program with us. How you doing today?
I'm great, Steve, and so happy to see you. Thank you.
You too. Yeah, I love our talks. And things that get uncovered and be it validation or revelation. So the stress, we know that stress is horrible. We know it's a cliche, but it's so true that stress kills. It can just manifest over years, get into the cellular level within your body. It's just not a good thing. How do you go through life managing all the things that pop up without allowing them to throw you?
Mhm.
How do we do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, uh, it's interesting because I'm thinking of all of our conversations since we've met. And so stress is a natural part of life. There are healthy levels of stress for performers. It makes, or athletes, or just our day-to-day living people. An average amount of stress could be optimal because it makes us handle things in our best fashion. It gives us the energy, the adrenaline, those modified, not over the top um, amounts of stress hormones to perform at peak levels. And there we are handling stress. When we go out of, and I think I may have mentioned some type of term like the window of tolerance. That's a term we use with trauma therapy. When we're in a window of tolerance, and I have nice big windows at my office that are a great example. If we have a huge window of tolerance, there's a lot in our day-to-day lives that we cope with pretty easily. We may have bumps in the road, we may have hiccups, we may say, "Ugh, I can't stand dealing with this," but we handle it, we manage it, we're in a window, we're coping. And then we have our moments where for some people, the pattern may be one or the other or both, where we go below the window of tolerance and feel like, you see that couch in the back there. I want to crawl into the corner of the couch and put my hoodie over my head. Or we go above the window of tolerance, outside of the window of tolerance. And there we might find individuals who panic or who freak out or who whatever people's terminology is for their description when they're above the window of tolerance. And those above or below, outside of the window of tolerance, is not optimal. And so how do we get in a window of tolerance? So back to your original question. I think it starts from our upbringings.
Mm.
And if we have parents who are very protective or very nervous, I always go back to attachment because it's part of my theory that I work with in and through with clients. If we have parents who are protective or overly protective or very nervous people, or keep want to prevent their own children, from failing, it's likely that these individuals will grow up with a very narrow window of tolerance. because everything is risk adverse, everything is scary, everything is a big bad boogeyman.
Well, 100% there, especially if it's somebody who's got let's say your parents had anxiety. Let's say your mom, let me just grab that. Let's say your,
It looks like there's
oh, it's a
an
bug.
emergency happening.
It's like that's the hotline to the studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really is.
Maybe
Um,
somebody has a question.
Probably an engineer. I don't know. Um, let's say that your parent or parents had a lot of anxiety, overprotective, all of that there.
Yeah.
That's going to transcend to you, I would assume, the way you handle things.
Yes.
You're going to have anxiety.
Yes. It's called procedural learning, first of all,
Well,
straight up. It's what is modeled for us. Excuse me. What is modeled for us is something that we inherently observe and internalize and play out.
sure.
So, there may be a method of how somebody cooks a certain dish. Well, if we see our parents cook this dish in the same way all the time, we're going to cook it in the same way,
Of
step by
course.
step, or clean the same way, or whatever it is, mundane things. It's very easy to understand procedural learning. And if it's modeled to us to have a huge reaction to a simple situation, we're going to internalize that and have huge reactions to situations that may be very neutral.
So you mentioned the couch in your background, and just at some point, maybe you need to go to the couch and put on your hoodie and just kind of like hide for a second. If you're below the window of tolerance, is that a bad thing?
It's nothing is good or bad. Let's throw binary stuff out of here. Just like there are no good or bad emotions.
Sure.
Emotions are informative. Emotions have millions of ways of presenting to us. Emotions are good information. So the binary, let's toss out. When we say we're out of a window of tolerance, it's not optimal. We're not coping with all of ourselves, inside, outside, heart, soul, right brain, left brain, and our bodies. All of that is not functioning as a whole system. So if we go below the window of tolerance, there's a difference between saying, which is healthy, I need some time to myself. I need to regroup. I need to take time or a time out. I need a vacation. All these things are healthy. All these things are healthy coping mechanisms. But when with the language you and I are using today, when we say we're below the window of tolerance, that's the difference. That's shut down
Mhm.
or collapse. And that's very different than saying, you know what would be good and restorative for me? I'm going to just blank out, meditate, get out of everything for 2 hours today,
Yeah. Yeah.
restore myself.
I was looking more of it that way, as opposed to, a negative where it's just sometimes just need some time. I'm going to just take some time to myself. I'm going on my couch, in my bed, whatever. I'm not doing anything. That's it. Sometimes I don't feel like doing anything. That's what I'm going to do.
That's coping. That's
Yeah.
in the window of tolerance.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is totally coping. I love that. I think, a lot of people feel guilt about it.
I was just going to say that. Thank
Say
you.
it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
The
Say it.
guilt. And I had it. This is coming from personal experience. I used to feel guilty about laying in bed, doing nothing. Now I look forward to it. It's, tonight I'm probably, and I never used to watch movies or anything. I'm just so busy. Just sometimes it bored me. Now I look forward to it because it's my moment. I just a break. When you look at energy of people and what you take from their energy or they take from you, there's a lot going on there in terms of the exchange. Sometimes you just need to protect your own energy and just, it's not like hiding from the world. It's just like, yeah, I'm just taking some time. I'll be back.
Yes, no, that's totally healthy and totally productive and totally restorative, and that's coping. That's in a window of tolerance. That
Mm,
is not a shutdown. That is not collapse. Shutdown is a defense. Shutdown is for me or for any individual who needs to shut down. What they're experiencing is a particular experience is too much to tolerate. Or, we use the word a lot, and you and I do too in our conversations, overwhelm. And what might be overwhelming for somebody is not overwhelming to me and might be overwhelming to the next person. But it's not a judgment call. I was watching a Bill Maher, like a rerun of a Bill Maher episode, a real time with Bill Maher.
hmm
And one of the guest speakers, and they were like very disparaging about people who claim to experience trauma. And they were saying, like, give me a break, this isn't trauma. And you can't say that. You are not inside somebody else's life and
Oh,
somebody else's body and somebody else's history to judge whether they've had trauma or not. It's a subjective experience where something is intolerable.
so wrong. That is so wrong that somebody would say that because we go back to talking about children where a lot of this all begins in terms of the trauma.
Yes.
And you could have one child who got picked on the playground, one isolated incident. It happens. Kids are kids. That child could internalize something and carry that with them for the rest of their lives from that one incident. Another rolls right off their shoulder. Whatever, walks away. That's it.
Right.
It's very subjective when we talk about trauma.
Yes, it's an individual experience,
Sure.
and it has a lot to do with a lot of things,
Yeah.
ancestry, DNA,
Yes.
nonverbal experiences, all sorts. Were our parents stressed out? Were they,
Yes.
all these things. So it's nobody's place to say what is traumatic for somebody or what is not traumatic for somebody. It's
Sure.
just nobody's place, and I couldn't get over it. And I wanted to respond to it, but I never did. But I guess I'm responding now. And I guess it's a very important point to make that you know that person on the playground, maybe that person also had a support
Mhm.
network, that child on the playground, to be able to say, you're not going to believe what happened. Or maybe they go home and they can say, you're not going to believe what happened. And it really hurt my feelings. And maybe the people who respond to them respond with a very empowered, positive, maybe that person was going through something, not to make excuses, and it
Yeah.
must have really hurt to hear those things said to you or done to you at the playground, that validation, but it may have been handled with a very secure, empowered
Sure.
look.
As
That,
opposed to could be the other way where the parent says, don't let that bother you. You just, that, yeah, next time that happens, you stand up for yourself, you punch them, whatever. And
that is not a good prognosis. And it's not that you shouldn't be taught to be assertive, but don't punch somebody. That's not coping either. That's a defensive
I,
fighter.
I, I am I'm going to reveal that I was bullied on the playground. Now,
Mhm.
quite often. And the remedy, my father bought me a punching bag to learn how to defend myself. And it's like, no, I don't want to do. I just want to walk away from it. And that's, I believe a gentleman will walk but never run. Just walk away
Love
from
it. Very
is.
secure.
I didn't make that up. Sting did in his song "Englishman in New York." But I, there's ways to resolve conflict, and a punching bag or punching somebody is not. That didn't align with me. It did maybe with my father. That's how he felt to handle it. What is the difference, Susie, between anxiety and stress? Anxiety and stress, are they interconnected? Are they similar? Are they the same thing?
Yes. So, um, you know, our society uses the word anxiety quite flippantly. So, unfortunately, it has probably a lot of connotations for a lot of people because I think, you know, a client might be very eager and very excited because he or she may be getting a new job or a new position at work and may express to me, I'm so anxious, but their presentation is they're excited and enthusiastic about it. And I ask them, oh, when you say you're anxious, are you saying you have concerns about it, or are you eager? Are you excited? Are you
Mm.
enthusiastic? Are you energetic about it? Those are different things than anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, it's a great point. And I was actually going to go there. You went there already. Like, let's say you've got some public speaking. A lot of people, it's one of the number one fears to
I-
speak in.
mm,
So you you may feel anxious about doing it, but is it really anxiety, or are you excited about the opportunity to provide some information for a gathering? You're the expert. They called upon you, but you're a little shaky about it. Maybe you're excited, and that's a good thing to get you fueled up like a football player jumping on the field. Does he have anxiety? He probably has excitement, like just it bottled up. Like I can't wait. I'm looking forward to getting it done today. Very different.
yeah. And but you know, I like using the words stress response because
Mm.
it kind of levels out the playing field for the person who's experiencing a stress response. So, you know, it's kind of ironic that I'm on a podcast right now, but public speaking. So, public speaking is intimidating for many people. Whenever I've had to do it, I've kind of known a few people in the audience. So I say, no matter what, make eye contact with me, smile, nod your head once in a while, and I'll just roam around the room to all those contacts until I feel calm enough to look at the people who seem disinterested or so done.
I love what you're saying, and now we're opening another door.
Oh yeah.
One of the best things I've learned, and this is from others, if you have to address people, public speaking, a lot of times you don't know who they are in the audience. Show up early. Just
Yes.
show up early. Meet everybody. Feel like you already
Yes.
know them. And when
Yes.
you're speaking before them, you can even, pinpoint something like, I love the shirt that you have on. You may have already talked about that shirt before, or you see somebody with a funky tie, you talk to them ahead of time. And then while you're up there, I'm trying to be colorful today just as much as Joe's tie. And as I understand it, Joe got the tie from his son when his son was 4 years old, whatever. You already know them.
Connecting gives a
Yeah.
lot of safety. But I think the difference
Mm.
between anxiety, stress response, what are the excitement, they're chemical differences.
How do you mean?
Because
Hmm.
if something is fear-based, if something is if something is anticipated to be uh, a fear-based experience or I'm anticipating an experience with fear, then my chemical releases are going to be more on the side of um, a, a stress response and not the optimal type.
Hmm.
The almost like I'm in threat mode.
Okay.
If something is like I have to get pumped because I really am excited about this football game or this tennis match, I am going to be excited because I love to play. And really, when we're in the zone of playing, it's not about the self-critic within us. It's about the flow of playing, the joy of playing, and what it feels like, and the strength of that. And that's a very different experience than a fear-based experience. And so adrenaline might give us the energy that we need to keep pushing through the game,
Hmm.
but that's not a fear-based dump of stress hormones.
How do you know the difference? Or do you?
Well, everybody is going to have to assess their own experiences. And if the majority of experiences are fear-based, like I don't want to have this conversation with somebody, I think you and I spoke briefly about the connotation of confrontation. Um, you know, having a discussion with somebody, why is that uh, um, a negative thing? Like we have to have a conversation. We should be able to be honest about things or honest about our opinions, even if we
Sure.
differ. That's not an argument. That's not a fight. But if we're fear based,
Hmm.
then we're going to view this as a threat. And then our defense system shows up, and I point way back here because it's deep seated in our brain. It's not our left frontal cortex and our right frontal cortex that's got all that juicy, I'm coping with things. It's this alarm system. Then that's a fear-based. Then we have to assess, how am I viewing the world? What's my lens?
Hmm. That's very impactful when you think of it that way, how you're having a conversation with somebody and you don't align. And it could be a conversation with your partner, it could be a conversation with
Yes,
a boss, whatever it might be. And you're, instead of viewing it as, we're just going to talk it out, we're just going to see how things are going, how they're feeling. I'll express my feelings as well. If you view it as a threat, well, this could go really bad. This could end up as a really big fight because they're starting in with me again. My boss is always picking on me, blah, 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 right?
yes,
You're viewing it in a different way.
yes.
And it might not be reality.
Absolutely, because what's going through one person's mind is, I could be fired, I
Right.
could be poverty, I won't pay my bills, whatever that is for people.
Sure.
Or if it's with a partner or a spouse, you know, maybe he'll leave me, maybe she'll leave
Yes.
me. I don't want to be alone the rest of my life, or
Okay.
whatever.
So let's now we said earlier, when you add a trauma to it, what you just said, gonna have that conversation with your partner, spouse, whatever. You're anticipating that it's not going to go well. They're going to be angry. And then just what you said, fear of, well, what if they leave me? Then I'm going to be alone. That can go back to a trauma and feelings of abandonment and more. Now you've got that layer to deal with, and that's kind of piloting your potential emergency response.
Yeah, and and so we say, and you're saying piloting today's response. And last podcast, we talked a little bit of how do we stay in the moment, time orientation, this type of thing. And really, I think when people become aware how much their history, and
Yeah.
this is unresolved trauma, because at some point we resolve things and can say, ooh, it was a terrible situation, but we feel we're not living in it anymore. It's not fueling, and this is the terminology that we are taught to do the work that we do,
Yeah.
is the past fueling the present response?
That what you just said is everything, in my opinion. It really, it's everything. It's why would somebody go into that conversation, boss, spouse, whatever, looking at it in a negative, conflictive way? There's only one reason. It's based on your past.
That is continued to be unresolved
Yes.
or undigested, or a lot of the experts say unmetabolized.
That's a
So
new one. That's a new one.
we don't have perspective about it.
Right.
And
Right.
and really it's so unconscious, and therapy is so great. I mean, one of the I really want to say, I have no idea who's listening to these podcasts. I hope a million people at some point. But I really think it's a benefit to the population to hear these conversations
It's
and
so
just be
true.
able to say, wow. And I have clients who wish everybody in the world could have therapy. And I tell them this is motivating for me to have a broader and broader rather than one single person every hour or even a family or a group, like to have a broader audience. I think it's so important.
I'm not agreeing with you because we're here together. I'm agreeing with you because I lived it.
And so
And
how so express
yes,
it. Yeah.
and recognized what was fueling responses in me until I did something about it and digested, metabolized whatever it is, and now just let it go, let it roll off, not even worry about it. It's a whole different way of life. We're out of time. Just keep
Again,
going. Yeah,
but you know that you have a very different sense of yourself because of it.
words could not express that any better.
Yeah.
It's just yes, yes, and yes, and yes. And
Hmm. Makes me so happy.
it's a whole different world. It's, and you look back, it's like, why did I always let that word? It's almost as if that didn't exist in my mind. And that was only a few years ago where I had, the aha moment and the connection and
Yeah,
all of that. It's almost like that. That's that. I left that person in the rear view. I don't even see him anymore. I don't even,
so great. That's
yeah,
it right
moving
there.
forward. Best way to find you. How do we do that, Susie?
My website is Susan Engel hyphen LCSW.com.
Yep. And that's licensed clinical social worker.
Yes.
So Susan Engel, Engel hyphen or dash LCSW.com. And you're available just even for a consultation. See if it's a good fit. You can work virtually with anybody anywhere.
Absolutely. In person, virtually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change your life. Don't get stressed out. Deal with the anxiety. There's reasons for it. Once you find
Find,
the reason.
find the roots. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for today.
Gracias.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.